Hi everybody, welcome to Decode 369 and this is one of our webinar series. And first of all, I need to give myself as introduction, and I'm Suman Subramaniam and Chief Technology Officer of Decode 369. And just cut short, if you wanted to tell about ourselves, and we are training and consulting company, and as well as we do solutions as well. And currently we operate in Sri Lanka and operates across APAC region, and as well as some parts of South Africa and Europe as well. And we run all our projects in this region. At the same time, we customer centric, and as well as we used to work on the industry related trainings much, and not into the academic right now, and maybe in future we will be in the academic arena as well. And in order to introduce our speaker today, it's first of all, I'm honored to introduce Mr. Aruna as speaker, and so he's well-known personality. No need any introduction about himself. He's well-known personality in the project management industry. I think in the APAC region, including Europe and South African region, and as well as in the US also. Many people know about him. More than 20 years of experience, vast experience in the project management industry, and he holds many certifications, and he holds multiple MBA, and as well as he is one of the founding director, PMI Colombo chapter, and as well as he is involved in many countries in the PMI community, and is a well-known personality, and as well as he worked with including Fortune 500 companies, and as well as many other companies globally. And if I wanted to tell for an example, Cisco, IBM, HP, Citrix, Avaya, Aspect, Alcatel, Nokia, SAP, Oracle, there are many more companies. And at the same time, he's not only a academic personality, and so at the same time, he used to work with academics, and as well as he used to work with the industry as well. In the industry, vast number. I don't see any other people have experience more than you, and as well as he's my teacher as well. And I'm honored to introduce, and thank you very much for joining us today. And so this will be a great time. Please stay tuned with us, and we will be discussing a lot of things during the session. And after the session is over, we will have a small panel discussion as well. In the panel discussion, we will be discussing the current questions in the industry, and what sort of problems the industry is facing, and during this pandemic situation, how you can overcome with the strict guidelines what you are facing in the project management. And also shoot us all the questions in YouTube or Facebook Live, and end of the session we are ready to answer all those questions. And at the same time, and if you have any more questions, if you wanted to mail us and ask any more questions also, you can mail us and ask, and we will be in touch with you in the chat. And the end of the session, and Mr. Aruna will be answering all your questions as well. Thank you very much. Over to you, Mr. Aruna.
Thank you, Suman. I think Suman did a very long introduction about myself. I think thank you so much, Suman. I have been working with Suman and his organization for a long time. I have seen true professionalism through him. That is why I decided to do a webinar with him as well. He is also a well-known person in the industry, and he has gained a lot of recognition, and he's I can tell him, I can recognize him as a true professional, really, very with a lot of ethics, today. When I was selecting this topic, really, I had many situations. A lot of people, that today, everywhere in the world, we are facing uncertainty, unknown uncertainty, we can say, because we don't know what extent we have this uncertainty is, really how we are going to solve it, and this is new to all of us. We don't know, not only for projects, even every business. So the project management area is, project management is part of managing projects is very vital part of our business. So that if you don't think about this uncertainty situation into consideration, if you don't think a new normal, think about the new normal, what is called, new ways of doing things, our projects are not going to be successful. I know we are facing a lot of challenges, but I feel that we have all the tools, we have all the knowledge, expertise, for to face for this uncertainty. That is my personal feeling, through working with the industry and working with many academic fronts. I can tell you we have everything. Only thing is, we have to find it and mix and match it and find the right solution for this situation. I'm sure we can do it. This is about a little bit about that. Basically how to how to do the projects, really, how to perform the projects. You know, in this pandemic. In this uncertain situation. Not only the pandemic situation, the world is with a lot of uncertainties. Our environment is, not very favorable to us, very unpredictable. Our political situations in the countries are very unpredictable, you know so many things are very unpredictable. That is why health situation, anything, nature also sometimes is very unpredictable. So this unpredictability, uncertainty, we are facing the higher and higher. I think it will be higher and higher. So the way we were doing things, now it is time for us to rethink and do a different way of doing things. So that is why my topics today is managing projects with extreme uncertainty beyond 2020. Actually, it's not beyond 2020. Few years ago we have started, but 2020 we are failing with the pandemic situation. We're facing it very the critical manner. We are facing the uncertainty, so we have to find the solution. Well, agenda of my presentation today here. What are the uncertainties in project management? What is uncertainty when it comes to project management? And also there are two well-known theories, well-known concepts I'm taking to show you that how to face uncertainties, using those two. One is art of war. I think many people knows about art of war. It is a very ancient theory, and many people have done research on art of war. Art of war is art of war. We use concepts of art of war, outcomes of art of war for business and as well as for many areas, even for project management. Now we have started studying about the art of war. We can learn a lot of things to adapt to our project management. Another one is the VUCA theory. I know that is also well-known theory, well-known concept. Many people, many books, research are available on VUCA. So that is also I'm going to show you how we can learn something from VUCA to manage project in uncertainties, uncertain situations. And my the background is mainly coming from PMI. So I learned project management from PMI, Project Management Institute. So I was chapter basically president for some times in the institute, PMI, and I was founder member, founder director of. So I learned a lot of things from PMI. So the PMI has good methodology, toolkit. In other words, the good PMI has good toolkit to face for this uncertainty. That is what the mainly I will show you that as well. So we have to learn from the pandemic situation and the beyond. This is not an end of our uncertainty. We will face more and more uncertainties in future in the world. So we will keep doing it, and we will be able to identify these concepts and keep advancing our concepts basically to face for the uncertainties in mainly in project management area, and to make our projects more successful. Well, I want to look at it, source of uncertainty, project uncertainties, where it comes from. contractual the turbulence because include changes and impact on projects such as legal issues, dynamic markets, regulatory uncertainties, and the lot of regulations are changing because of the for survival the countries, many uncertainties, many very variations, many ambiguities coming on us, so we have to use many different regulations. So one source of uncertainty is coming from this area. And stakeholders, our stakeholder project stakeholders, who stakeholders are anybody who has any kind of impact or impacted by the project basically. So these stakeholders who are participants, maybe the customer, sponsor, project beneficiary, they are all the contributions, that leads to uncertainties. The general public, if you're doing a public project really, so these are uncertainties coming up basically because they are also facing the uncertainties, they are also facing the ambiguities, variations, the continuous changes in the world. So the technology, that is of course I suppose, technological change is the bringing us a lot of uncertainties. Why? Our technologies keep on advancing. The things what I used, many years ago, you know, I started my career with electronics engineering background. Today what electronics is, what I learned many years ago, electronics is totally different. We have to keep on learning. That is why the people who get involved with the technologies, people who get involved with management, I suppose, they have to always be on their toes. They have to keep learning, keep updating themselves, because according to the situation, new situations, we have to, technology is changing. Basically because of the technology changes, we feel uncertainties in our projects. And organizational are facing a lot of competition. New businesses are coming up, old way of doing business are going away, and you have to keep on, updating yourself for an organization to survive. So the way started, you can see the banks how today behave, telcos how behave. Many years ago telcos were very traditional, the way of providing media. Today, telcos are trying to behave like banks really. There are many value added services are they are trying to couple with that, their telecommunication services, so that they have to provide solutions really. People are not looking at only the media really. So banks today, if you really look at financial organization, all financial organizations, sometimes the e-commerce organizations, so the marketing organization has become e-commerce, and they have more dependence of technologies. So these uncertainties are faced by all organizations. So organizations are changing because of the changing, their projects also, they have to do different way, and uncertainties are contributing for projects from the organizations as well. One of the most important thing, the project uncertainty, it is, also a category that creates ambiguous environment for the project teams. This ambiguity is a lot of uncertainty for project teams to perform. They don't know sometimes what to do really, what really they have to perform to make their projects successful. At the beginning, they start with some methodology, some planning, they do it, then they decide on how to do the monitoring and control, how to close it, and test criteria, many things they identify, but because of the ambiguity, they might have to change it really. So this is why we are in the situation today, we are changing, everything is changing in our environment. Only thing which doesn't change in this world is the change today. Everything is changing, so that this ambiguity is provide many examples, the many complexity, unrecognized complexity for our projects. Other thing is malpractices. That is also, with the growth of the technology, with the growth of the many methodologies, malpractices also comes up. We identify the many things: absence of lack of adherence to the management standards, discipline. Sometimes the environmental and this creates big, huge professional environment uncertainty. So this is also one of the most important area. But today I'm mainly looking at the ambiguity of the ambiguous environment, how we could, perform our project activities, management activities to bring success to projects, and not, basically, not to, bring failures for the projects, avoid failures for the projects. Well, as I told you, I would like to start with art of war. Art of war is, very said, the discover strong association to project management. Because art of war was presented by Feng Shui in many years ago. It is 5 elements called path, heaven, earth, leader, and law. Really, this is we can learn a lot of things, from art of war to face the uncertainties. I know that nobody likes the military situation, war. Uh, you know, war situation is bringing a lot of uncertainties to us. Not any, not a pleasant situation to the people in the world, but as a result of the war, we have we have learned a lot of technologies, many theories we have discovered, many new ways of doing things we have discovered. Because this is also sometimes when you are in a normal situation, our we don't use our full capacity of our brain. That is the human nature, where we go to comfort zones because we don't feel the threat. When you feel the threat, when we feel the uncertainty, only our human brains started working in a higher capacity. So then they always come out with better concepts and better ways of doing things. So that is why when you are in uncertain situation, it is sometimes it is opportunity. I always feel that project a lot of pressure. If you are uh, getting challenges, we are improving actually, because we come out with many better concepts to do better ways of doing things. We will cover, we will identify. Well, this, if you go a little bit about the art of war, this is the Feng Shui, the Chinese characters. I'm not very good in reading those things. They say path, heaven, earth, leader, law. So the meaning of art of war in the path means mutual philosophy and the purpose of the group. And the examples are team spirit, shared values, things like etc. is basically for path. Heaven means basically environmental factors, the time, season, what the darkness, light, in general, if you take it, that is environmental factors. In project management, we learn about environmental factors and organizational process assets, environmental factors, because if you don't consider environmental factors and organizational process asset, you will not be able to use your project management tools effectively, because in different situations you have to use it differently. Earth is the situation, distance from the opponent, in war terms, distance from the opponent, what your ground situation you have to understand. That is called environmental factors actually. Environmental factors and your organizational process assets, what the processes, procedures over a period you have learned. Leadership, yes, this is a important thing. Intelligence, credibility, compassion, courage, discipline. Discipline provides the leadership. Law means art in the war, because ability to perceive, implement strategic concepts, we call it, that is the process. Right process is called law. Well, So if you go further elaboration into this art of moral law, how it is, combining, how we could combine with our project management. The project team must have proper value and motivation and attitude. This you need to have, because when you want to face for uncertainty, when you want to face for many ambiguities, we need to have it. And project managers must clearly spell out their expectations, their clear communication, open for communication, what values they want from members to subscribe to it. And select your team members carefully. Selection is very, very important. Some qualities, some skills we may be able to upgrade, even after selection, selecting the people. But in project management, we always, sometimes we always, the best, the practice is, getting the right people to the right position is required, because the project is, you have the limited time, you are surrounded by a lot of constraints. Your scope is a constraint, time is a constraint, always your budget is a constraint. You cannot do a lot of learning activities inside the project once you start. So therefore you have to select the right people. The heaven means, in project management terms, heaven is to about the wind, clouds, weather, and maybe external factors to the project. Your environmental factor, external factors which affecting to your project, you have to consider. And the methodology is called PEST. I'm sure many people knows about the PEST analysis. Good to do a PEST analysis, and political, economical, social, and technological environment. A lot of people are very focused on the project technical stuff and how to do manage their team. Their environmental factors sometimes they neglect. But today you can see that your environmental factors you need to understand much better than before you start a project, because you have to analyze, different situations. You have to do things in a different way, because you can't get people to one forum, one building, one area today. Even for software development, getting people to one office and doing the development of software, having a face-to-face meeting is a challenge today. So we need to understand that there are factors practically beyond your control. We have to understand them, know them very well. Then only we can prepare for them very well. If you don't know, then we will face difficulties. And other one is, we call it earth. This is the battleground terrain. Again, the distance, narrow, we call it in war situation. So this is your internal situation in your project, your procedures, processes, the control plan, your organizational objectives, your senior management, your organizational strategic plan, the project scope management plan. Then everything is, you have to very carefully evaluate and understand to face for if you are speaking about in art of work terms, earth is for project management. The commander is the leader that stand for the wisdom, sincerity, belongingness, courage, strictness sometimes. The leadership is, we have to, it is very situational. Situational leadership is required today. This is same expectation from the project managers as well. Like a commander in a war situation, same expectation you need to have, like in a commander in the project management. You have to face, situations. You have to understand your management styles, concept, should be changed according to the situation. You should be a very challenging person who can change your concept and face the challenges. That is the kind of the project manager we need for today. And methods and discipline. Yes, we need to have a strong methodology, tools, best practices. Otherwise, you can't go to the war and you can learn how to fight. No, in a battlefield, the soldiers should be trained in martial arts very well. They should be, that is their basics. They have to, they should know how to use their guns, how to use their sword. If that basics is not there, you are not a soldier. Same way, if you are a project manager, you should know the project management methodologies, so that you can get it from PMBOK version 7. 6th edition is available today in the PMI standard. Other standards also there. Prince 2 standards are there. Even the agile project management standard today, agile standards are is together with PMI standards and all other standards. You can learn everything. Mainly, I know much better, most popular standard in the world is PMI standard, but I never say only to follow that. You can learn from anything. It doesn't matter anything, any practices. PMI PMBOK version 17, 2017 6th edition is there, but unfortunate thing is it's going to be changed very soon. In few months time it is going to be a 7th edition. We are planning, the PMI is planning to take many uncertainty, this uncertain today what we are facing, uncertain situations what we are facing, and they are going to introduce better management tools and techniques for that. So you need to know your the basics first. That is important thing. Like the war, you should have learned martial arts, really, how to fight. So according to RAF of 1996, the art of war consists of following chapters: initial estimation, war situation with planning effectiveness, military disposition, strategic military power, and subsistence. So the combat, 9 changes. These are many things, 9 terrains, and many things are there. It is there in his book, in his chapters. So these ones, in project management terms, project management point of view, what do you need to know? The following structure of the chapters, proposed in a project management point of view, taking art of war into consideration, your project concepts, strategy, tactics, resource estimation, strategy selection, weakness and strengths, the project realization, flexibility, resource management, environment of the project, risk management, which is very, very important today. We have to see the predict what is going to be negative or positive events, what is going to happen in future. Unique activities, gathering information, this is also important, really. So the risk management is today required more than any other time. With risk is because we are going to face more and more uncertainties in future, changes in future. So this is what, project management point of view, how you can use art of war concepts in order to face the uncertainties in project management. We can learn a lot of things. Other things is, the art of war basics of project management practices show how important it is properly plan prior execution, and show aspects such as project environment, assignment of your resources, the right resources to the right slot, your risk management, motivation. It is very important to motivation with people. If you are working with knowledge workers today, we have to use many knowledge workers for project success. You have to work with knowledge workers, because many manual work, unskilled work is replaced by machines. You must be knowing that artificial intelligence is coming up in IT industry. Many big data analytics, they are coming out with many automations. They are coming up with many technologies. Machines are coming up with in order to replace many manual works. So we need, in order to manage those technologies, we need knowledge workers. So the knowledge workers, when you are working with the knowledge worker, we have a different way, with a different strategy we have to use it. So you have to motivate them and get work done, not rule them. You can't direct them. Their innovativeness, and their skill should be taken to the project success. So the project estimations are very crucial today, very important, very difficult today at the moment. But we have to do it. That is also lead to crucial for success of the projects. Next thing is, as I told you, VUCA theory. Let's look at VUCA. How we can use VUCA to, bring success to projects. What we can learn from VUCA. VUCA theory is, General George, who was in the Afghanistan war, Iraq and Afghanistan war. The uncertainties what he faced. In order to explain those uncertainties, situation, he came out with a theory called VUCA. Really. So let's look at what is VUCA is. The VUCA is, in the General George usually says, without clear focus, there are no common purpose, and without common purpose, there wasn't effective execution in war. So let's see how we can use these things for our business, okay, in project management. So VUCA is the American military discipline. As I told you, what he faced in Afghanistan and Iraq war. General George, how he faced extreme uncertainties. He explained the situation saying VUCA. VUCA means volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. So he says the situation what he faced in the war, very volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. So isn't it what we are facing today in the business as well? I think today it is that. So the VUCA is the VUCA theory we can use today for in 1960s. She said that it came into vocabulary. Today many not earlier it was used by not for profit organization, corporations, and education industry. Now today in business, a lot of people are speaking about the VUCA concept, really, how it could be used there. Today we are going to discuss how VUCA can be used for our project management in order to overcome the uncertainties and ambiguity what we face in today for projects. So leading through VUCA, when you take the general in leading to, be direct in complex situation, transparency in information communicated and received will gain mutual trust and collaborative effect. It says we have to be direct and be understandable in ambiguous situation. Clarity of our purpose, direction, and responsibilities will empower will empower others. Be reliable, it says, in volatile situation. Follow through on what is said and agreed to will accelerate positive momentum. Be trustworthy in uncertain situations. We have to be trustworthy. Invest in people. Yes. Keep terms. Engage. Involve partners. Seek to understand. Speak to understood. Speak to be understood. Really. Act with respect always. Really. So that we need a lot of things. When we speaking, listening, philosophy and values, how it is interacting with VUCA concept, really. So be direct, understandable, be reliable, and be trustworthy. So the volatility is what is. What is volatility means? Speed, magnitude, unpredictability. Things are happening, before you think. That's called the volatility. Okay. So the uncertainty, source of uncertainty is context, stakeholders, technology, organizations, the knowledge and information data. It's the uncertainty. Uncertainty is a risk, really. Known risk to unknown risk, really. If your unknown risks are very much higher than known risk, your uncertainty is higher, really. So that we have to find a way to make it unknown. Yes, Uncertainties will be there in future. But we should be able to predict at least to a great extent. Okay, so that is what it says. Uncertainty, complexity. Yes, the people, geography, resources, markets, technology, processes, environment creates very, very complex situations today. It is like we are in a web really inside. Very complex situation. Different requirement, different concept, different political agendas in the environment, different political situation, environmental situation. Very complex to the complexity. So we have to understand this complexity, market situation, the way you do business, competition. This complexity we have to understand properly. And ambiguity, objectives, requirement, process, policies, really knowledge. You need to have the understanding information, novelty. So this is the ambiguity we face today in our projects as well. So that is what we call it, ambiguity. We have to understand in our projects also this ambiguity very well. So how we can use VUCA? VUCA means in order to this vision we can use raise above. In order to rise above volatility, we can use a clear vision. If you can have the clear vision, yes. Then, if you have the good understanding about the situation, we can reduce uncertainty. If you have the clarity, in our projects, as much as possible, it counters the complexity. If you have this is the last one, is the most important, interesting thing. Agility overcomes the ambiguity. We have to today. This agile concept was introduced to our world, many years ago. Initially, we started doing, agile business, agile behavior, various things. The agility is required for us to today bring success, reduce wastages, and focus. The agility means basically your adaptability is required today, because the changing situation, varying situations. In order to face varying situation, we need to vary our, because we are working with the moving targets always. So when you are working with the moving target, agile is a very good tool. So it can overcome ambiguity today. So the VUCA says that. So much of things we can learn from VUCA. For also like things we learn from Art of War, in order to make our projects basically the more stable in uncertain situations. So this, if you are following these concepts, if you are studying, I'm sure uncertainty is not a challenge in project management. So the uncertainty versus ambiguity, when you take it into consideration, if you have high ambiguity and low uncertainty, very low uncertainty, very low ambiguity, and very low, you can use the lesson learned and practice previous project, and in a process focus, and we can be maybe able to solve it. But if you have high ambiguity, still if you are in a low uncertainty situation, use rolling wave plan, decision making at key grades, engage stakeholders early, milestones planning, negotiate next step, try hard to fail fast. Agile, Scrum, sprints, methodologies. I'm going to explain a little bit in my the future, the next slides. Really, what is agility? What is Scrum? This can be how we could use this to the face for the ambiguity. If you have a low ambiguous, very high uncertainty situation, so you have to have the clarity. A lot of clarity is required. Define processes, sign off before next step. initiation clearly, objectives, we have to set objectives, the experts opinion, assumptions we have to take always. And we can use in project management, there are tools such as the agile, kanban, and the workflow project. There are so many things that also I will use. We will see how we can use that also for our low high situation. But high situation, with all of this, we need, the most important thing is inspirational leadership really required. Leadership, subjectivity, clarity to achieve before design and management, multi-stakeholder engagement is required. Test multiple options. This is, I like this very much. Today we sometimes, the people in project management, I know there are many people says no, traditional project management approach is no more. We cannot have a predictive approach. That means fully plan driven project management approach. A lot of people says we have to be very agile, very agility, adaptability should be full, extreme adaptability is required. Yes, extreme adaptability, I also like it. Extreme adaptability is required. Extreme adaptability doesn't mean that in full agility, really. It is situational adaptability is required, really. Situational agility is required for extreme adaptability. So the mix approach is the best. It shows indirectly, shows that. Let's go move forward. Let's see what is the best approach we could take for our future projects in this uncertain, ambiguous situation. Skill upgradation and mindset. We have to have more adaptability, more flexibility. We need to have less rigidity, basically less risk awareness, the better communication. You need to have basically better documentation, clear roles and responsibilities. Sometimes agile, we call it less documentation, more interactive communication is required. It is situational, it depends on the situation, really. Better communication is key. We have to find many different way of doing communication today. Our traditional approach of communication is no more valid today. We have to see many technological, with the adoption of high tech. We have to look at how to do communication today. It is the communicate that the technology also changing because of the uncertain situation. For people to communicate better, because they are coming out with many concepts, technologies are coming out with. We have to use that. We have to try. We should not have the fear. We should be able to use better way of doing things. I don't know, I recently met one of my friends who was traditional trainer, who was a lecturer, and the consultant. He said, through these days, he's doing many things, online. It is like, trying to eat a fruit with the, without cleaning it, with everything, the outer cover. I said, you should not look at like that, because the situation is different today. We have to have the adaptability. We have to see what different ways of doing things. Different technologies are coming up. Better interaction we can take. No point of blaming the situation and say, no, we are facing the uncertain situation. In this situation, we can't do anything. We cannot manage our projects. This is the way we were bringing success for the projects. This is the way we were bringing success for the business. Now today we can't apply those concepts. If you can't apply those concepts, we have to find new ways of doing things. The technology can provide us different solutions, so we have to use technology today. We should not have the fear. People who have the fear for technology, fear for getting into new technology, I don't think they can develop a counter strategy for uncertainty and ambiguity. That is very, very important thing for us to understand. So the risk is very important area for us to look at. Today, if you know, if you have known risk, you can identify and you can develop a risk response plan. Known risk, but and also some predictable risk, to a certain extent you don't know the risk, but you can predict at least to a certain extent, to a great extent you can predict that, anticipated what is going to happen. Then also you can be ready, you can. But today the most difficult thing is unpredictable risk. All of a sudden falls on us. These things totally beyond, maybe beyond your control. So the strategy, I feel that what we should adapt is, known, we have to, have clarity and understanding, and going into context sensitivity as much as possible, and do into details as possible, as much as possible, and try to understand the known risk and predictable risk, as much as possible, to reduce the percentage of unpredictable risk. That is the only solution we could identify. So the reduce, we can totally, you can't avoid unpredictable risks really. So the unknown, totally unknown risk, you never think of this kind of risk will occur, but it will occur. So there are situations, because if it is less, very low percentage, then you have some preserved energy and resources to as a counter strategy for this one. Okay, so this is, we are ready for it always. We are ready. That is the important thing. Well, the constraints. This is also important thing. The world without constraint, business without constraint, projects without constraints, life without constraints, we cannot identify. We always, we are, we are with constraints. Constraints are there, different constraints we are coming out with. Your budget becomes a constraint always, your political situation, sometimes it is not a barrier, it is become a constraint for you to perform, do things. Your environmental factors, many situations today, pandemic situation is, sometimes it's a barrier, it is an uncertainty, it is a risk, but at the same time there are constraints, because there are things you can't do, which we were doing, very interactively, with our close relationships, we cannot maintain today. So we have to identify a different way of doing things. These constraints are there, limitations are there, situation, many organizations are today facing, budget constraints, resource constraints, they are facing, sometimes, there are people who are traveling across the globe, from here to here, just a matter of, few minutes, they were in another different environment totally, they were able to do things, very effectively. Now today you cannot move the way you want it, you cannot travel, it is important. These constraints are there. Even if you want to have, the situation becomes normal, I don't know whether world will be ready to facilitate us for our movements in future, the things with the way we had it. So we have to, find a different ways of doing things. Today, even you can see, our personal life also, day-to-day consumption, day-to-day doing things, day-to-day work, really, it is really different constraints. So the constraints we have to understand, but the most important thing is, not only in project management, even in our business, we have to understand constraints are constraints, not barriers. Those are limitations only for our business, for our projects, really. Limitations what we face. So these limitations, we know that it is not, the door is completely closed. Our way is not completely closed, really. We are facing the constraints, but we have to some different strategy to overcome these constraints and work, or we have to find a different strategy to work with our constraints. That is very, very important really to understand. Well, uh, so I can tell you the next thing is our basics. If I told you, because if you are going to the war, you should know about the sword fighting. You should know how to use your weapons, how to do the combat, techniques. The, the, that is the basics of war. Really. If you are a farmer, you should know about the soil condition, how to convert soil condition, how to manage soil condition. So those are, if you are a project manager, going to be a project manager, project lead, you should know concepts, theories, best practices, and the tools and techniques of project management. So these are the things, what I know about these things. There are many other things also you can add it to this really. PMBOK guideline, PMBOK. One thing is organizational OPM concepts, business analysis. The PMI has done many, the white papers, and PMI is full equipped with, basically they have done many researches, many concept, the practice guides are available, many toolkits are available for different doing different things, scheduling in project management, for doing managing portfolio, all other this professional institutes has done many years of research. After doing it, they have come out with these concepts really. So these we can use. This is one area you can use very well for your projects. You are ready with the combat the methodologies really to fight in your project really. So you are fully you become a expert in project management arts really. Like the soldier becomes a very competent in the combat fighting. So then this is important, this is essential, this is your basics you have to understand. But remember that you can all these learnings, you can't use it as it is really. You have to consider all what we discuss in our VUCA theories, in all what we discuss in our in our the art of war. We can take many things we can learn and it blend it with the concepts what we have learned in project management. Then we can face the uncertainty. This, how to blend this? Okay, PMBOK 7 is 6, version 6 is going to be changed. It is known as the world standard for project management. So that is why I have taken it. There are many other standards also there, but this standard, if we take that as the example, we will be in a position to understand other things as well. This standard, the current edition of the PMBOK, is based on the processes that and the performance assessment against processes, improvement against them, in order to proper methodology, documented methodology of maximizing the efficiency and minimizing the risk, the about the very prescriptive nature it has been done. But today, I told you, we were discussing, we are in more and more uncertainties we are facing. The many ways what we are discussing is, the basically adaptabilities, now we have to bring. There are, to a great extent, the version 7 has the adaptability, but this adaptability, they also feel that it is not enough really. So for the new version of the other professional institute also must be doing that, I'm sure. New version is going to come with focus on full value delivery landscape rather than process driven really. More than the process driven, move to a principle based approach and summarize generally accepted objectives for project the practices of project management and its core functions. This is going to be based on that. More adaptability is going to the inculcate into new versions of the new methodologies of project management. That is very, very important, really, very important. That uh, these are the 5 processes we learn in project management: initiation, uh, planning. You have to initiate a project. Before initiation, you have the pre-initiation. Pre-initiation is identifying the concept, the your strategic plan. You have to consider, you have to have the goals and objectives. We have to identify very clearly. You have to align your projects into your the organizational or the country or the terrain, strategic plan. Otherwise, if your project's strategic alignment is not there, your project is not going to be very, very, very successful. Because we can see today many projects we can see today in the world. When you are initiating the project is importance of the project, benefits of the projects is very visible. But when you complete the project, sometimes you don't know what to do with that project outcome, because situation has changed, environment has changed, and your business has changed. So this is why it is important, for you to analyze before you start something. What is the technology change we are going to face? What is the trend in the world? What is your objectives, organizational objectives? What is the organizational trend in your business? Vision, mission of the business, and direction. All these things we need to indirectly consider when you are initiating a project. Then your project is not going to be obsolete, after initiation. And even it is going to change. You can very easily identify the changes, and you can have the adaptability, and you can make a successful project at the end. So that is why, so in the traditional approach also, we thought, we were sticking, project should have only one initiation, one planning, and one closure, and the executing process and closure. So everything is fully planned and from end to end. Yes, it can be done if you can identify the scope of your project 100%. Okay, at least over 80%. If you can identify, yes, you can apply the full predictive approach. There is no any other reason for you to have the flexibility, because if you know the project, this is what exactly you want to do, this is if you know the right strategic alignment, if you really know the outcome, what is going to get, and how it is going to be going to operationalize, and how it is going to kickstart the operation with that results. These results, what are the benefits you are going to deliver to the society or for your beneficiaries or to your organization. If you really know exactly what you are going to do, there is no reason for you to have flexibility. No, we can have very the control approach to bring results. It is like a machine you prepare. You know exactly when you put the raw material inside, you know that what you are going to make. You don't need to change the machine wheels inside mechanism. So the mechanism is set. You have to put only the raw material. You know that what is the outcome you are going to get. But how many projects today we can do it like that? How many projects today we could see that we can have entirely at least over 60-70%, you could identify the scope of the project. That's the challenge we have. So that is why this initiating process today, many initiation for a project, you could have many initiation, many planning process, many executing, and many closing processes, and many monitoring and control. In other words, You can put this into a blender and we can break it down into many manageable pieces and manage the project. This is what we should do. So this is the adaptability we need to have. So we do a one phase, and then it depends on the results, challenges we face, and you need to do the next phase of our project, next maybe iteration or a sprint. We can look at how you going to do it. But it is a different projects. We need to have the different approach also. That is what we need to understand. If you are constructing a building, sometimes more than 60%, developing the showroom for your sales of your items, more than 60-70%. I feel that those days we used to think 100% we can identify the scope. Today I don't think but at least more than 60-70% you could identify the scope of project, exactly what you want to do it. So you can do a good planning. You don't have to do many changes during the planning. Maybe 10-20% extreme situation we have to do the changes, so we can keep on executing and doing it. There's no any other reason for you to go into many many phases, many short phases of the project, many short areas of the parts of the project. We have no reasons. You can very well, if you can identify the scope, you can do it. In other words, in a kind of a construction project, I'm taking only as an example really, where there are many projects, infrastructure projects could be considered in this manner. So after doing your foundation and the planning, you can't, after building 2-3 stories on the building, we can say that no, I want to have another 5 stories on top of that. It is not going to be possible really, basically, because then the changes are going to be very difficult. So it's the nature of the project doesn't allow, nature of your the project doesn't allow you to be very flexible. You cannot change many things. But let's look at, if you are developing an e-commerce website today, you want to sell your products, the via internet, or on the cyberspace, maybe using Facebook, maybe using your e-commerce website, maybe using different media, the social media, using social media. A lot of businesses are happening today using social media. You want to do it, so you need to amalgamate all these things. But do you know the size of your market? Can you identify? If you are developing a new product and you're going to launch with this e-commerce system, you don't know. You won't be able to identify. So do you need to develop an e-commerce system with millions of access, thousands of simultaneous accesses, and with higher capacity and fully fledged because of the having many items in in your e-commerce website? I don't think so. You can start small and keep on growing while you are collecting data through the process, through your operation. You have operationalized, you have put it into operations, and you have started the operation. Your business is, while you are having the ongoing business, you are collecting data, and you can release the next version. You can release another version. Keep on using different versions until you, depends on the market feedback you get, depends on the feedback you get from your customers, depends on the feedback depends on the environmental situation you are going to face really. So that is important really, important to understand that this is required. So the different way of project. But if you really look at, sometimes there are certain projects, you need certain to a certain great extent. So to a certain extent, you can identify the scope. You have to fix the scope. Certain areas you are very flexible. You need to have. You need to keep it open. For the depends on the situation, you need to change it. So, do you want to go for adaptive approach or predictive approach? That's a question. Let's look at what is predictive, what is adaptive, and how we are going to use these things, right? So I gave you some basics and examples, how the projects are happening in the world, how we are going to these uncertainties what we are facing in this project. With the uncertainties, how we are going to use this toolkit, project management toolkit. One thing, more important thing, earlier we used to think if you have the technical project management skills are 99%, you are okay, then other things are less important. Therefore, you can be a good project manager, good project leader, you can manage your projects. But today, the talent triangle says that your leadership, strategic and business management skills, understanding your business is also equally important as your project management technical skills, but depends on the situation what percentage you have to use it for. Each of these area is different, really. It is depends on the type of your project, but these are equally important. This talent triangle is very important thing. It's not very old, about 3-4 years ago it was published by PMI. I feel that this is a very important thing to consider when you are doing technical project management skills, leadership skills, and strategic business management skills. You need to have the comeback to arts. You have to you have to master. There is no argument in that, but you need to know about the terrain, and you need to know about your energy, environment, and energy. So depends on you need to know about the political situation, environmental conditions. You need to know how you need to motivate your people, get them to the right slot. Good planning is required for you, so you need to have the good leadership is required. So I feel that from battlefield you are learning project management concept to face the uncertainty. Today we can, even this talent triangle, we can send it to them for the battlefield, for them to even war situation, how to conduct effective military exercise even. So let's look at what is this agility. A lot of people are speaking about what is agility. So the agile project management, concept came with the 4 values, 12 principles, and many practices. With practices, this is called full agile. Many organizations went into agile concepts, really. So in early stages, when people saw agile project management, a lot of people thought, it is the death of we see the death of predictive approach. We are not going to have any predictive approach in future, so we have to do only this way. This is going to be the future. So the project, when you compare the agile approach versus DSDM approach, we call it agile approach, really. Dynamic system development method, it came from basically, mainly this came out in our the project management projects of IT projects. Basically many IT projects, they can have the flexible approach. Basically the software, while it is running, you can keep on upgrading, you can keep on improving, you can do that. So that in traditional approach, features means basically you identify the scope of the project, set of features for you to deliver, set of deliverables you want to deliver, and then you identify the time based on your future features, the deliverables. Based on your scope of your project, you could identify the time and the cost budget based on. So you are going to fix the scope. You are going to fix the scope, and you are going to have you are going to vary the time and the cost based on the scope. We are not going to change it. 99 more than 90% you think that you are not going to change the scope, but that way, if you are in a position to identify the scope precisely into a great extent. But if you are not in a position, that is why the but agile approach came out with many things. They go into 1 week to 2 weeks to 1 month sprint, small iteration. It has initiation, planning, implementation, and planning, implementation, and closure. Monitoring and control is the whole thing. It has that all the functions in a small one. So you identify a particular time, particular cost for that time. You fix it. In that time, you look at what are the features, functionality, not the features actually, functionality you are going to deliver. There's a difference between the features. Features, you are looking at the process really. Here, the working functionality, what is the functionality you want to deliver? Because you want to put it into action and start the operation. Here you are focusing on, in other words, it says agile focuses on working software, working system. So we are looking at some functionality, what we can deliver, what we want to deliver depends on the understanding we have. So this is the difference between this. We were looking at agile versus basically traditional approach of project management. People used to say that waterfall approach, but according to PMI standards, it says adaptive versus predictive approach. Predictive means basically fully plan driven waterfall type. Adaptive means agile approach, iterative approach. So today, when you look at project, although people have started using this agility versus predictability, now after using this for some time, people realizes that sometimes they are part of their project, 50% maybe about 50% agility, 50% predictability. They were using it, mixed approach. I told you basically when we were looking at VUCA, when we were looking at Art of War, it always say in order to have a counter strategy for uncertainty and ambiguity, you need to have multiple approach. This is what it says. This is what people came out with, this practical approach, your agile versus predictability. Sometimes in small iterations also you can identify small portions of your project, agile versus predictive adaptive approach. Predictive adaptive approach, you can identify many ways, and sometimes you can take as a nutshell, as a basis you can take all predictive project management. You do a firm plan, end-to-end plan, and you start the project. But whenever you want to make changes, whenever you have a market situation, whenever you have your organizational situation, whenever you have environmental situation for you to change and deliver the projects, you use agile approach, predictive approach, adaptive approach with the predictive approach. So mainly you are following the predictive approach, but adaptive approach you use it. In other words, sometimes you start a project with complete predictability, adaptive approach. Complete adaptive approach, you start it, but whenever you see that you need better discipline, better control in your project, okay, better discipline, better control in your project, then you say, oh, that's what we should do really. When we tighten the screw and we take the control of your project, and only that part, then again we are in end to end, we are doing the project in using adaptive approach, agile approach. This is one way of doing it. And agile versus predictive in different ways, we can do it like this. This approach is called hybrid. Why we we wanted to use hybrid energy for vehicles, hybrid energy for our houses today, hybrid energy for electricity energy. You can have, I think there are so many, I can see that the many projects are coming out today in the world. They are using, wind power versus solar power. So the wind power is continuously you're using. Sometimes you get more wings in the night, and you can generate more power from the wind turbines in the night, and the daytime you can use solar power. So you can combine those two, like our combination in our hybrid vehicles. You're using fossil fuel, but at the same time you're using the other electrical energy as well. So you use the combination of it. Hybrid approach is the way to go. So hybrid approach is basically, I call it complete, adaptability, complete, basically agility, extreme agility. You look at what exactly what type of approach you need for the project. Depends on the approach, you can perform the project. So this is the best approach for your uncertainty and ambiguity what you are facing today in this uncertain situation. Every moment is changing, so watch carefully and identify whether it doesn't matter whether it's agile. Whenever you want to change it, take the agile approach, less documentation, because there are so many disciplines in agile, less documentation. And whenever you feel that you need more discipline and more control, you can have comprehensive documentation, comprehensive tools, comprehensive monitoring and control, less changes you can look at. But whenever you feel that you need to change and more adaptability is required, you can have more changes, you can open for changes, and you can encourage changes and do that. So that is the both combination approach, combined approach. You can take it, for project management, in future. So this is what I feel that we can take for our extreme situations in the world. In other words, this picture, look at what is tiger and a lion. Okay, the tiger, what tiger gives? Tiger gives speed. Tiger can move very fast, very speed. Lion, strength, the power. So if you can combine those two, why are we going to be tiger? Only speed, benefit of the speed. Why are we taking only the power of the lion, for the leadership power only? The speed also required. So the combination. So we call it complementary rather than competitive approach. It doesn't matter what approach you take it, whether it's a PMI recommendations or with most recommendations are, the concept theories are almost equal. Very slight changes, I can see that. Many organizations, professional institutes, professional organizations for project management today, they started believing in this combined mix approach for many things. So the adaptability is required when you are basically when you are ready to change, but careful, discipline change is required. Change doesn't mean that you need to change yourself the way you want it, just uncontrolled changes. That is what giving us negative results. The change has to come, adaptability has to come, flexibility has to come, in a controlled manner. Discipline, agility we need to have. So with the discipline, agility, I'm sure we can face the uncertainty. We can overcome uncertainty. We can, even sometimes we might be able to do our projects better. We might be able to come out with different ways and different the better results we can obtain through our projects. So that's ends my presentation. I will hand over to Suman once again for his Q&A sessions. I think I'm little ahead of schedule, but I wanted to allocate 30 minutes for
It was
questions.
very interesting, and as well as it was very thoughtful as well. And we learned a lot of things, and as a project managers, okay, they might have brushed up their knowledge as well,
Yes.
and a lot of knowledge and a lot of insightful and a lot of thoughts as well, because this presentation, even myself, okay, I managed okay, many projects, and so it was like reviewing, and as well as it was like thinking twice, okay, what mistakes I have done, and as well as what should be corrected as well. And I'm just planning to move some questions, and in the questions, okay, I thought of like discussing few things with you, and one is the current situation, and depending on the current situation, some of the questions, and as well as, and later part of the okay discussion, we'll talk a little bit of the PMP as well, since the coming January everything is going to be changed.
Of course.
And so as you already mentioned, and as well as you have given a drafted idea also what the next edition is going to be, and let's discuss about, and how fast you have to be. Lastly you were talking about the fast also, because as I know, one of the toughest exams are PMP, and in that case, how you are going to prepare yourself for that particular exam as well. So that's how I'm thinking. And in order to start the question, the first of all, and nowadays the one of the biggest challenges, world is affected by this coronavirus pandemic, and everything became work from home. And when it comes to project management, and as well as a project manager, and so remote working strategy, or else okay we call as a work from home strategy, how it get affects, right, in order to productivity, in terms of their productivity, or else in terms of their what strategies what they are facing, and as well as in terms of facing the deadlines. One of the, and what I in my personal experience, and as well as many project managers experience, is meeting the deadline is one of the biggest challenge. But so in that case, uh, how do you think okay this will affect the project managers, and as well as how we can overcome from this?
Well, it is different way, as I we were discussing different way of thinking we need to have. One thing is, we need to start using more technology, than what we were using in our past, really. Because when we have to learn how to work and how to manage projects with less interactions. Basically, it's easy. Basically, if you are sitting in front of a person, and if you are interviewing, if you are having a face-to-face discussion in a boardroom, you see the first facial expressions, you see their data, you can ask them to demonstrate it, and you can be very adaptive, and we can tell them then and there. You can find the solutions after discussing it very closely. But in other words, if you really look at the same things, may not be 100% what you have been doing, face-to-face interactions. We may not be able to do that, but in future, maybe we will find a way to do it. But at the moment, we must, without having, having barriers in your mind. If you think, yes, this situation we cannot change, this is an unavoidable circumstance, we don't know how to change this. So if you don't know how to change this, then we have to identify, even during the planning stage of your project, even identification of your project, we need to understand that. At that point, we have to understand that, yes, these are the constraints we are going to face, these are the barriers with the obstacles we are going to face, because the reason is, in our situation what we had was different, really. So we have to think a different ways of doing the monitoring and control. The most important thing is, progress reporting in a project, really. I know in a software projects, really, if you speak to a software developer, if you go and ask, really, my friend, how much you have completed, he will tell you, 80% I have completed, only 20% to complete, really. But even after a few weeks, if I ask him, have you completed that 20%? No, still he is doing the 20%. So you have no way of measuring that 20%. We have no way of measuring the 20%, that 20% also. So in a construction project, of course, you need to, I think maybe you can see physically. In an infrastructure project, ICT infrastructure, to a certain extent, certain percentage you need to see that. So you need to understand the type of the project. You need to identify a different mechanism for progress monitoring now. We have to look at. I'm sure if you invest time, I don't want to go into technical details. You as a technical expert, Suman, I'm sure you can say, you can identify many ways of monitoring things.
Yeah.
Okay. So the one of the theory, we have to get into binary reporting methods really, without looking at very the the appropriate intervals we have to look at and set targets for appropriate intervals. We have to clearly define our areas, and communications should be more interactive and more some kind of a electronic document, the reporting method. If you identify, sure we can identify. I have done it. At the moment I have, for a few projects I did it. It's going to be very successful, I'm sure. So we can that will be the counter strategy for this pandemic situation, I'm sure.
So that means, okay, when you're working in the work from home strategy or is the remote working, first of all, your mindset, okay, need to be fixed. And as a project manager, what you're going to do at office, the same thing that you're going to face. But sometimes, okay, you have to be physically have to present in the projects. Okay, that will be the biggest challenge. So for that purpose, as you mentioned already, and so you have to be very familiar with the online tools. So like for example, what are some of the tools like Skype, Teams, and as well as the Zoom, and where you can have the more interaction with your team, and where you can monitor your the team members work, right, and what's the progress on that work, and how you can monitor. There are a lot of monitoring tools are there. At the same time, there are a lot of online platforms are there. You can easily interact with the each and every project members in your team. At the same time, you can start planning on it. So meeting deadline is one of the biggest challenge, right? And because as I mentioned, and as Mr. Aruna mentioned as well, and meeting the deadlines, one of the biggest challenges. Sometimes some of the projects you have to be physically should be there, because nowadays I'm currently facing that issue, and everything we can't be able to do with the remote working.
But Suman, I personally feel that this is a barrier of our mind. Really, this is, I feel that this is the culture we have been we have, our mind have been programmed to see the things physically. Many things. This, if you really look at today, even if you take social media tools, you can have many interactions. If you want to see, let's take a example as the construction industry. If now I know the construction industry engineers has to visit the site, but these things, we can identify many ways of many equipments. The things, one is the starting from a basic camera to capturing data from vibration test data, mini data, capturing data from many devices, and fixing the surveillance system in the construction industry, this construction site, and many things. I'm not expert in the construction industry. I'm sure if we can get together IT experts, and this is the time we need to have the I feel that mix approach, I call hybrid approach. Hybrid approach. There are technologies available. There are subject area experts are available. If we sit together, I'm sure we can find out. Even today, many today, you don't want to give a call to your doctor and ask about your health system, get advice. Now today you have to do it. You have no any other way. But I'm sure we can monitor your blood pressure, monitor your the heartbeat, everything you can get into a system. I'm sure devices will be developed. Already there are some devices developed at the moment for medical. So we can do it. I feel that this pandemic situation is giving us opportunities for us to think differently and overcome the human. This is the talent of human beings. I feel that Talent of human beings are really, when they face difficulties, they become more innovative. They come out with somehow, they come out with, you know, the way to overcome those challenges.
Even one of the Google survey mentioned, which is the productivity. They measured the productivity of the employees nowadays, and it actually increased the productivity when they are working from home. And so that's as you mentioned. That's all about the
Mindset, but you have to change your attitude. You have to deal with your personal attitudes first of all, because that is very important to understand that. If you become negative and think, oh my god, everything is bad for you, you have to face what
It's
what
like
is the
coming out of
situation
your
coming
comfort
out of.
zone.
Yeah, you have to find, we have to be innovative, we have to think differently, and I'm sure you have to find the way out, really.
No, that's great. And the next question is, there was a survey done by using the 280 plus project managers, and in that particular survey they found some of the issues, and because of this COVID-19 outbreak. And so what are the biggest challenges? They have categorized each and everything. Project planning affected 22%, resource management affected 30%, and cost overruns 13%, and stakeholder management 35%. So this is the forecast which comes with that particular survey. And what's your thought about this?
I feel that is interesting, really. This kind of surveys, they are doing it means because we can learn something.
Yes.
And I'm sure we can come out with better theories to overcome those difficulties, really.
Yeah.
So that is one thing. I'm sure whoever has done this survey, I also need to go through it. Basically, we can. I'm sure like a lot of learnings are there inside it.
Yeah.
In other words, it clearly shows that these challenges are very much similar. Even the stakeholder, cost overruns, even resource management.
Yeah.
These three categories are equal priorities we have to give. So I'm sure this, if you can, if I take one example, one area, resource management. Of course, we need to, now managing. You don't. A lot of people think, I don't know how whether he's working, whether they are working, they are whether they are present in the work site, whether they are how they work, they are paying the attention to their work, how the quality of work, anything. So this is where we have to think differently. Now we have to identify different ways of measuring their quality. We have to identify new concepts. It's not only systems, really. Systems comes later. All this technology comes later. We have to come out with different concepts, the different innovative ways of measuring quality. So if you come out with this, is I feel that again I'm saying, we are in the learning phase now.
Yeah.
We have no way, because this learning, I'm sure, going to give us better productivity for our future. So if you really analyze the data, how it is going to happen. Now we know what has happened really. Now we have to go back. We have to go into the root cause of it. Root cause of it. Why 30% problem in resource management? What is the specific problems? If you could analyze it, I'm sure we can find solutions for it. So we have to do that. At the moment, right now, I don't have a out of the box the straightforward answer for it. But I'm sure we all work together, we can find. But that also we have to work collaboratively. Technologies, many business people, and also the project management. All three categories has to work together to come out with different way of doing things.
That's great. And so, as a project management point of view, I'm just asking, and for an example, in the IT point of view, we learn a lot of lessons in this particular pandemic situation. In the project management point of view, what do you think? What are the thoughts about you? What are the lessons we learn? And some of the lessons what we learned, that will be as we already discussed, that will be adding a lot of productivity in our work in future. And some of the lessons that we learned, maybe that will be affecting our productivity in the work as well.
Honestly speaking, the the biggest lessons I have learned through this pandemic situation, it's very threatening us, really, all professionals. Really, I have feel the uncertainty. I feel that confidence levels of the people had gone down. This is where I feel that we have to, because I'm trying to encourage many people who are working with me, really, saying that lose everything, but don't lose your hopes.
Definitely.
You have to, don't lose your confidence, the confidence on you, really, because confidence on our skills, you know so we have to keep on using it. If you stop thinking what will happen, this situation, if you become negative, saying that we never be able to find a solution, this is going to going to contribute us a very big disaster. At the moment, my thinking is a lot of projects are you know on hold, due to financial situations also. There is a financial situations also. At the same time, some projects, some IT projects are doing well. This is what we have to learn. One of the few companies, when I spoke to few business leaders, they said, "Oh my God, we are doing well." They said, and also the apparel industry, until we get, we see this the recent situation. Actually, apparel industries in certain companies in Sri Lanka, they were doing, 40% higher profits they were making than the normal situation. So that this is what, this is opportunity. That is why I said every disaster, every difficult situation comes with an opportunity also. So today, for I have seen a lot of threatening, a lot of uncertainties, a lot of failures in the project, and I'm sure the lost interest in doing the right thing in the right way. These things. I think we need to now act together, start. Challenges I feel is, at the moment I'm not very happy about the situation. A lot of people are waiting situation change. I don't think that should be the way. We need to understand that situation will continue to change. Therefore, we have to identify a methodology, find a way to work with moving targets. With that, I feel that we have to start working.
Yeah, and also one of the challenges nowadays, when you're working as a project management and as well as a project management, working with the project management team, and so your team will be communicating with you and working together, but the one of the biggest problem is the limited engagement of the stakeholder, and the stakeholders are engaging with the projects very less. That's one of the biggest challenge what we are facing. And same like sometimes we get with the unrealistic deadlines also.
Well, that of course, that is why I said, even our beneficiaries, we have to understand, we have to have a discussion, really, because the same way we were doing the project, we can't do it. We have to identify new deadlines, new ways of, according to the situation. We have to. I think we need to have a discussion with the beneficiaries as well. But at the same time, we also need to understand, because we have nobody will agree to the curtail or reduce our speed, speed of delivery. Very difficult to do that. So for a short time, we may be, if we try to have an effective discussion, I think make them understand the limitations what we have.
I think maybe
but,
involving,
but promising them to make the situation better, that we have to do. That we have to do. So then I'm sure this will be opportunity.
And I think maybe the inadequate risk management also plays a big role. Yeah. So when it comes to the planning and all, because the risk management team, we have to work with the risk management team closely, and risk management team also, they have to measure the project risk, risk already, and what sort of projects that we are involving on. So that's the one of the biggest challenges. But I feel like any other challenges that you are thinking.
I think you hit right on the top of the nail. This is, I feel that, our risk management in Asian part of the world, this part of our part of the world, is we are very poor in risk
Rarely I can
management.
see the risk management.
Rarely,
Yeah.
honestly, I didn't want to say that. You said it very well. Sometimes, we have no risk management at all. For the sake of doing it, sometimes we, in order to show some results, show some reports to our beneficiaries or the sponsors, sometimes we say that we do risk management. But that is I feel that now we have to start thinking risk management is key for us to, because there are three categories of risk as we discussed in the presentation. There are known risk, unpredictable risk, okay, unpredictable risks also there. So the predictable risks also there. If you can predict to a certain extent, then we can, at least we can identify a solution. Even unknown risks is there, known risks are there. Known risk, of course, you can find. Unpredictable means basically you have no way of, because unknown area can be divided into predictable and unpredictable. Predictable unknown risk, yes, you are in a better situation. But situation is sometimes we are new to this situation today, because the environmental factors today, with the environment now, there is a new virus situation, health situation has also coming. As a result of these two situations, a lot of organizations are suffering financial issues, really. And also a lot of organizations are seeing difficulties to accommodate their employees to come and work, really. Health guidelines are there in one side, other side, world regulations are there, your subject area, there demands certain interactions, is there subject area, the specifications also there. So we have to think very carefully, and now we have to think. This is the time I feel that all senior management and experts, I think they should be on the communication tools more than any other people. They should spend more interactive sessions today to come out with new ways of doing things.
Because
Electronic
because
tools,
the lack of communication,
lack
will be
of
affecting a
communication,
lot.
because you can't meet.
Yeah.
Because rather than meeting it, I feel that today it is also another opportunity, really, because today's interactive tools, I feel that very advanced tools, you can do a lot of things. I'm sure in few months time we will see that whether we want to meet, we don't want to meet, basically physically. So the many of our meeting, I'm sure, I'm not going to say that 100% we can avoid meeting physically, but at least to a great extent, I feel that more than 60-70% of our meetings we should be able to do it online.
Yeah.
We will be able to do it online, I'm sure. That is what I am expecting. I'm hoping to do also.
Even just for a joke, I'm telling, even the productivity of the meeting is very high, okay, when it comes to online, because when we go for a physical meeting, there will be out of the topic, a lot of things out of the topic, and but in here this is on point with the communication tools, and that's one of the
and
more
also
productive thing that I'm
we can
thinking.
save our travel time.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
travel time. That is because in our part of the world, travel time is sometimes more than the meeting time.
Yeah.
For you to come for a meeting, 30 minutes meeting, you have to spend 2 hours of your travel time.
Exactly.
That is a saving. So at least part of that travel time also we can use for our meeting.
Definitely.
So that is why we have to. This is, as somebody said, this is a new normal. We have to find a way to do things differently.
Yeah, and same like when it comes to project management skills, and also if I wanted to say, nowadays one of the biggest problems the project management teams are facing, the lack of clear goals, and as well as the success rate, and as well as the success criteria when it comes to that. And success rate, some of the surveys say success rate of the projects are lesser when it comes to the previous situation, right, when the employees are working at office, and even though that the productivity of the employees increase, the success rate of the projects are lesser nowadays. So what's your thought about it?
To a great extent, I agree with you, Suman, because the reason is There was a time, I don't know, the after pandemic situation, people have started to thinking again. Really, I think I have seen, a lot of people have started, going through professional courses and many things, and they're trying to, top up their skills, really, top up their the knowledge base, really. That this is not, this is something I feel that some period, we were because of the work pressure and a lot of high demand, the targets and many things, due to many things, people stop learning, people stop, certain very big percentage of people stop, upgrading their knowledge. I told you, so when I'm coming from electronics engineering background, my basics are as electronics engineer. When I started working, those days electronics, and today electronics, when I look at it, you know those days electronics is totally obsolete, honestly speaking. Many things, even for a doctor, even for engineer, accountant, we have to keep learning. I don't think, even to maintain your position today, we have to continuously learn.
But it's I think it's a very good time to skill up your skills, because most of the time you are working from home, and most of the companies flexible with your timings, and you don't have to sit and work from 8 to 5, and you have flexible timing as far as you face your deadlines, as far as you finish your projects. So that's completely enough for them. So in that case, we think, okay, this is the better time to skill up yourself as well.
Of course, we have, at least we can save from our travel time. Then
Definitely.
even your, I'm sure, home front or your fiance or your close family members may not trouble you that much, really,
And also
because they also can't travel outside.
Yeah.
Really, you may not get many invitations for celebrations to these days.
Exactly.
Really.
It's good time to have a
Good
work-life
time.
balance
So
as
you
well.
can, this time, if you can use it for skill upgrades, you top up your knowledge, the can, that is, I think that should be done. And also this practice, we must take it as a habit to continue learning, really, without stopping it. Basically they can decide, for a certain for a month, this much of time I'm going to definitely allocate for the further reading. Not only the formal learning, basically through internet you can see there are so much of knowledge, really, but you have to selectively, you have to do it, you have to filter it.
There are a lot of things
There are
free.
unwanted information as well, but we have to, there are some, there are very valuable informations are available even free of charge in the internet, today in the cyberspace. So you have to make use of it and start learning. I know a lot of people are spending the in front of the your computer for many unwanted things, having a chat
Social
or
media.
social media, I don't know,
Distractions is too much.
very, I'm not saying we should stop that, we need to have some kind of a relationship, some kind of enjoyment, these are all part of our life today, but we have to see what is priority. What priority should be given for those kind of activities? What priority should be given for your continuous learning? Because your continuous learning, not only to upgrade yourself for a better position. Basically, you can become a better person. Personally, you become a better person in the society. You become important to yourself. That is the, I feel that is the most important thing, more than other people. Think about yourself. You should be able to proud about yourself, say, thinking that you have learned so much of things, you can contribute so many things to the society. So that is required, because when you feel great about yourself, definitely others will also feel about yourself.
True. Viewers, okay, stay tuned with us, and especially when we are talking about the technical skills and everything, we will be running this kind of webinars a lot in future, and we are working with experts like Mr. Aruna. Our team of experts is okay there. We have experts, so all sort of areas, and stay tuned with us, and as well as so we will be announcing our trainings as well, and we will be exclusively working with Mr. Aruna for the project management trainings. We will be So announcing what are the project management topics and what sort of area, and we have a lot of customized trainings also, which is more industry oriented and what exactly the industry needed. So that sort of courses also we will be introducing as soon as possible in our Decode 369 page. And please follow us Decode 369 in website and our YouTube channel and social media as well. So in there we will be time to time we will be announcing our free sessions, sometimes the free trainings as well, and we used to give the discounts as well. Even the viewers who are viewing right now, you will be getting the project management courses discount as well. And before starting the PMP discussion, so what's PMP? And already you have given a very good introduction and everything. And I need to discuss few things about when it comes to PMP. And before starting that, and what do you think exactly the project manager is? What sort of skills he has to have?
The Suman, I told you, basically mainly based on the talent triangle. You need to have you need to understand your business. You need to understand you have to become a good leader, but your technical expertise is key. The project management technical expertise is key. So you should know many tools are available today. You must be seeing in my presentation also. For me to cover I won't be, I did not have the time to cover what is exactly a predictive approach, adaptive approach. So if you know this, what is predictive approach, what is adaptive approach, if you know these tools very well, it's like your workshop is fully equipped. You have a modern workshop to deliver any kind of repair, any kind of manufacturing. You are ready for any kind of manufacturing for that. So that is what you should do really. You have to, it is like your body is like the workshop really. You have developed a workshop. You can have many services you can provide. Any kind of services, project management services, project services. Not only for project management is, so a lot of people think project management is only for project managers. No, project management is an essential skill. For you to become a good marketer, you need project management. You need to become a good HR manager, you need project management. Because for you to encourage others' personal development, the training and development, many activities, they need project management. And many, even today, I'm very happy today, Suman, to announce this. Postgraduate Institute of Medicine in Sri Lanka today. In Sri Lanka, doctors, the who is doing MD, masters, they learn project management.
Well, that's good.
Because they also need project management. I think if they need other professions also, I'm sure they will need project management. All other professionals require project management skills. So, but may not they may not be able to go for the certifications or anything. But there are different focus training programs we can conduct for them, basically. Their project management is, you don't have to learn like a professional project manager who does programs many high level projects. You don't have to learn to that extent, but you can learn project management to make your operation more efficient, even to deal with project managers, even to become a good business leader, to communicate with many project managers and many contractors and many outside people, to procure your services or the solution from other organization. You need to know about the project management. Project management will enable you to become a better leader. That is the only thing I can tell you.
Because one of my greatest learning as well, when I was learning from you, and so one of the biggest part in the project management area is just to manage your teams. So whatever the profession it comes, and one of the biggest part and as well as one of the tricky part is managing your teams, and diplomatically sometimes. So the project management, which my personal experience, if I wanted to say after learning from you, and I learned a lot of techniques, how to manage my team as well, and as well as a lot of flexible tools are there and techniques also there, and you can work and manage your teams. And also I feel like some of the general skills are also very important. That is kind of like a business skills and interpersonal skills and communication skills and the as you mentioned, and the leadership is one of the very important skill as well. And what I feel is another thing is like as you already mentioned also, and as a project manager, and always you have to be a better communicator, and then only you can be able to influence the stakeholders. So that's one of the important skill what I
You
feel.
have to be a good communicator,
Yeah.
but you can be a good communicator. By learning project management, you can be a not only good, effective communicator.
Yeah, that's very important. Okay, that's a good point you mentioned, because then only you can influence the stakeholders as well. And when it comes to a lot of the project management, okay, project manager, and what are the key areas you are thinking like one of the project managers, the roles?
Well, because other than your technical skills, really, you need to understand the terrain. You should be able to. You should be flexible enough to invest your time to when you get into a new project. But don't think that your role is only to manage a project. So I don't have to go through this technical stuff. I don't have to go through this subject area, but invest time on that. Just sit with your technical expert, subject area expert, and try to understand their language that better. Try to invest, when the technology change, understand the new technology trends. That is important, really. I don't think anybody can today stop learning technological tools. So, this technology is mainly the ICT tools. You have to keep learning about the new tools, new ways of doing things. You have to learn, because you can learn from others. Main thing I like project management, because I'm learning from many people. Whenever I get a new project, even though it is within my subject area, technical subject area, but I can learn a lot of things from them, because they are practitioners.
And also,
So
the 90% of your work is always talking with the stakeholders.
Yes, stakeholders. So you have to, for you to become an effective communicator, for you to lead them effectively, first you need to understand their situation. For you to understand their situation, you have to gain subject area expertise as well. So you have to keep invest time for learning. I feel that for if you want to become a good project manager, don't stop learning. Keep investing, continuously investing time on learning on the various subjects.
And so now I'm directly coming to the point. One of the biggest challenge in the PMB exam, the cracking the exam. So the learning, okay, might be very easy. The like a coach like you, and you used to, but break down the things very easily and very easily make the students to understand. And when it comes to cracking the exam, what are the main knowledge areas you think they are measuring in the exam?
Well, a lot of people make a mistakes going into PMP exam. They think only by going through the PMBOK they can sit for the PMP exam. No, it is only one of the knowledge area we have to look at. PMP exam also based on basically your leadership skills. What is required leadership skills. How you can effectively apply your other skills to the project really. So the PMP exam is not looking at only theories, whether you have learned the theories. PMP exam is looking at how effectively you can apply your learnings in your practical the practical world for your projects. So that is the challenge. So if you start studying, there are many recommended books really available, many articles available. Even with PMI.org website, if you become a member, I'm sure even if you interact with the chapters and the many organizations like you can learn many things. This learning will enable for them to go for the exam better. Because if you just read go through like you're doing a school academic exam, last few days, if you try to buy hard the PMBOK and go for the exam, that is the failure.
That's the failure. Okay, that's where you.
That's yeah. But at the same time, I'm sure Suman, you are also planning to conduct. We can see some exam sessions also we should be able to
Definitely.
because it's not only learning about the PMBOK and the PMBOK curriculum. There's the essential part of our number of hours we need to complete. Then after that we have to provide them, I feel that now, provide them exam guidance as well.
Yeah, that's what we discussed. We was and the approach of delivering the training for chaos is different, and we are not going to leave you just after delivering the session. And after delivering the session, the trainer will be having contact with you always. You can contact the trainer until you get into the exam, and until you crack the exam. If you have any questions, if you have our guidance, and if you want free exam preparation, and we can arrange everything. And already we are started doing, and so we will be continuously doing, and as well as and all sort of coverage. But maybe what Mr. Aruna can talk about, and all the areas what PMI covers, and for example the courses like CAPM, and courses like professional business analyst, and project management professional, PMI scheduling professional, agile certified practitioner, and program management professional, portfolio management professional, and all sort of complete coverage we used to cover. And so for that purpose you can start working with us, and any sort of courses if you wanted to do, and so you can contact us always.
Not only that, Suman, even one of your corporate organization, small or medium or large organization, has a specific requirements to manage their projects. We can conduct a very tailor-made
customized
programs.
Already,
So
that's what I already mentioned, and we have a lot of customized programs. Stay tuned with us, and we will be announcing those customized programs, specially designed by Mr. Aruna, and he designed industry-focused one. So at the same time, if you want, as he mentioned, if you want any industries, if you are looking for the particular area to be covered in the project management, if you are thinking like your project management team is lacking this area, so we are always there to help you with that particular lacking area, how to fix your loopholes, and so we can create a customized program for yourself as well. And so the next question, and I asked a lot of question, I guess, and quickly we'll finish off. And when it comes to the eligibility criteria, the PMI, and just I need to discuss about that eligibility criteria for viewers, and what are the eligibility, what are the prerequisites should be there.
You can eligibility criteria for the PMP exam. One of the biggest barriers, I feel that the experience. You need to have certain level of experience, 3 years or 5 years of experience. Depends on your qualification really. So either you can have an associate degree, or basically you can have a full degree for the degree. Depends on that. Depends on your degree for the academic qualification what you have gained. Basically your the experience requirement will vary. So that we have to understand. So I think we have to give a personalized consultation for that. They keep in touch
depending on their
we can recommend this is the way they can go for the PMP exam. PMP exam basically depends on their number of experience they have, and based on their academic qualifications we can direct them to the right path to gain the PMP qualification.
So even I read somewhere about 7,500 hours.
Yeah, 7,500. That is why it's a detailed requirement is there.
Detailed
even it says the 3 years means basically within that 3 years you need to have 4,500 hours of project management experience. So we can assist you how to do that really, because if you if they partner with you, because I'm sure that we can guide them to get the eligibility, because there is a eligibility requirement to go for this PMP exam. You can't just go and sit for it, because there are 3 criteria you need to fulfill for after fulfilling those criteria is only you can go for the PMP exam. So one of the criteria is following the under certified trainer. Basically you need to cover 40 hours, 35 hours of contact hours, so that we can deliver now even online. We can deliver. So the one happy news is now the exams are available online. even online proctored exams are available. You can do it from home, but there are so many requirements you need to fulfill for that. You know, you have to rotate your machine and show
Yeah,
the
you need to show
environment,
the environment.
you have to install the software. There are so many things are there. So don't worry. That is why, because within this 35 hours, instructor has to, you know, coach you very well, not only the subject area, how to prepare yourself for the exam. That is the most important thing. So
Even
if you
the-
get the correct guidance, I'm sure it is
Even
not
the
going to be
exam
a-
module also, I think it's changed because the first 100 question you have to finish off, and you have to review at that same time, and you can't be able to review those questions later. And the second 100 question will be starting again, and finally you can review the last 100 question. And with this, okay, I thought of finishing the. Once you gain your qualification, how you are going to maintain? What are the criteria?
Yes,
you need to
that
face?
of course, that also, I'm sure the institute, professional institute side, you as Suman, you can help them. Basically, you know, following any kind of a project management related programs. So the PMI affiliated programs, if you run, you know, then we can award them PDUs, professional development unit. By working as a practitioner, they can gain PDUs. By doing voluntary service with the PMI chapters or to any other professional organization, recognized organization, they can gain PDUs. So there are different ways, but it is a detailed requirement. Definitely, we can guide you if you are following a course. Definitely, we can guide you on that.
Great. And final question from me, and there are few tips to crack the exam. This is a common question from everybody. Yeah.
It is the most common thing. I feel that, you know, a lot of people says, you know, that you don't need to, you know, understand the PMBOK fully to go for the exam. No, it is the basic. You know, you have to first go through the PMBOK and then understand the structure and the PMI methodology. Then on top of that, with your the instructor's support, you have to do at least 300-400 target questions before you go for that, because this is a 3-hour exam. You know, continuous 3 hours. Really, you have to do 200 questions within 3 hours. You know, it is not easy, really, considered as one of the most difficult exams in the world. But at the same time, the recognition also same way. You know, this is one of the most highly recognized the professional qualification. So the most important thing is your studies also. If you do it in a methodical manner, you know, just not from here and there. Don't study for the PMP exam only targeting, you know, sample questions. That is the failure. That is a gamble. You know, don't do that gamble. If you want to have a, you know, predictive success, you know, predictive success, if you want to gain, you know, then do a methodical approach.
Yeah. I always used to say, okay, I used to have, and as well as my students and all, when I'm guiding, and it's like a be, do, have mindset. First of all, be the person, okay, that you wanted to have a PMP, and you have to desperate enough to, okay, be that person. And the next, do certain things, and with the coaches like him, and just get the guidance and do certain things what they are doing, and finally have your qualifications. And same like, okay, as he mentioned, okay, he already mentioned about the benefits of the PMP as well. And so just to finish off with this, and when it comes to the PMP, there are many project management certifications are there, but when it comes to PMP, that's always on top. So what do you think? What's the reason for that?
Reason is, you know, the PMI is investing. I think a lot of the, I think they, according to their press release, really, they spend more than some 60% of their revenue on R&D. Yeah, every particular once in 3 years they do a survey, they identify the best way of doing projects. You know, they continuously, you know, modifying and evaluating and developing concepts. So this continuous development has contributed greatly for the businesses. these project managers has become very industry focused project managers. They can become, because they can quickly learn and they can adapt to the environment and they can start performing. So I think that is the main reason why PMI qualification, PMP qualification is considered as the one of the best qualifications in the world. And even the PMI, out of all other qualifications, they say PMP qualification, they still consider as the one of the most important qualifications.
And also it's globally recognized by the countries. And same like as you mentioned, okay, they are continuously improving the current trends. What are the current trends are there? That's already covering in the curriculum. So that's one of the main reason. And as well as the all over the world, okay, they have thousands of project management project managers are there who are member of that, and they are testing the curriculum as well. So that's great. And as well as that's all for the question session. And thank you very much, Mr. Aruna. And this is very insightful and very thoughtful. And thank you very much for your precious time, and a lot of things, okay, you shared. And I think, okay, it's a knowledge packed event. And same like in future also, we are planning to cover a lot of okay, webinars, the free webinars, and same like free sessions also there. And some of the corporates, okay, we have planned okay, some of the free sessions for the corporates as well, because of this pandemic situation, there are some sort of a burning issues are there. We have found out a lot of burning issues in the industry. So for that purpose, and in our in one of our project, okay, that we are doing the free trainings as well, free sessions, and we do other corporate trainings as well. And we, as I mentioned already, we have the full coverage of the project management training, and as well as we have a lot of customized training as well. And same like we can customize the trainings according to your need as well. So we do all sort of things. And as Decode 369, and we are not only in the training business, so we do solutions as well, and we do consulting as well. And we are don't think we are completely cybersecurity company. We do so all sort of solutions, and as well as all sort of consulting as well. And our team, okay, if you get our team, our consultants are like Mr. Aruna. Everybody is more than 15 years of experience, right? And also they're in the industry, and that's makes the huge difference between others and ourselves. So thank you very much, and stay tuned with us, and we'll meet up in the next webinar. Thank you.